I'm Shelley Badger, and today we're going to be playing a horror game, part of our spooktacular horror month, called Pumpkin Eater. Let's begin. Nobody knew how it happened. Ah! A boy, barely reaching double digits in years, was lying dead in the driveway. Gray and red pulp was painted everywhere. Back the car up! Back the car up already! How did he get under there? Laying down to draw? Some freak force of nature? I'm trying, woman! An innocent life was taken too soon and too violently. Was it the will of some cruel god? A woman ran to the body, attempting to reattach fragments of jaw back onto the skull. One figure jumped out of the car in pursuit, while the other was frozen in place outside. She had watched the full event unfold in front of her car. Baby, speak to me, please! He's dead! No, he's not! Look, he's still moving! Don't you hear him crying? You've gone mad! And you've gone deaf! We need to save our son! There's still hope left! Drive him to the hospital! His brains are all over the pavement. He's already left this world. No, he hasn't. You're a liar. Help me. But, now, if you care about me and your children, he can't stay out here like this. Bring him inside before the neighbors come. We'll deal with this later. It's okay. You can hug me tighter, darling. We didn't mean it. He's still alive. Mommy, what's going on? Don't worry, there was just a little accident, but everything's going to be okay, I promise. We should replace his head, quick! Our garden! A pumpkin should be the best size. What? The perfect nuclear family, torn apart. Their lives would be forever changed. Peter, Pumpkin Eater, had a wife but couldn't keep her. He put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. The mother stood panting and admiring her creation, wiping off any blood from her hands onto her apron. It was a little crude, yes, but it worked better than she expected. Outside, the father stared into the sky while the daughter couldn't look away from the driveway mess. Her head hurt from crying her heart out. It's going to rain soon. It'll wash away everything as if nothing happened. Are we really not going to do anything? I'll think of something. Daddy is tougher than you think. For now, humor your mother by going along. I'll be hosing down the driveway. Yikes! This started off real crazy. I'm scared. I hate this. The father reassuringly patted her on the shoulder. Though he was a man of few words, the father did love his wife, but most importantly, he loved his image. He didn't want his family to be branded as miscreants. They had just committed vehicular manslaughter. There had to be a way of disposing the body. Dinner is ready, you two. Please come inside. The two were greeted by the son, who was just sitting in Grandpa's old chair. Oh, shit! Wow, they're really putting their dead son in a wheelchair with a pumpkin head. The most bizarre sight, however, was a pumpkin in place, that's what I was saying, of a human head. Its face carved into a welcoming grin. One could still see the remnants of the original crushed head within the holes. Oh! Also, side note here for a second. I read recently that, like, if you, like, smile, like, you look down a little bit and you smile but cover here, it's supposed to look really creepy. Like, I don't know. Does that look creepy? I don't know. Anyway, let's continue. Sorry. As we were. See? The head looks just like him. I have a strong feeling it doesn't. He said he likes his chair, but wishes it wasn't so squeaky. Dear, could you do me a favor and purchase some oil tomorrow? Of course. Well, everyone, don't just stand there catching flies. Let's wash our hands and begin the dinner prayer so we can eat. Oh, shit. There was little talk at the table. I mean, what can you say? What was there to say anyway? Yeah. Despite the gloomy atmosphere, the mother was unusually lively. Probably because she's in like this super huge state of shock, I'm guessing. Here comes the airplane! Woo! Oh no! She was spoon feeding him? The daughter grimaced at her shoving mashed potatoes into the son's mouth. The girl looked at the father for guidance, but he did not return her gaze. The daughter focused her attention back to the food on her plate. It smelled good, but the meat resembled an awful lot like her brother's. Ugh! She dry heaved. I can't say I blame her. This girl's gonna be traumatized. Like, hardcore. Time for therapy, like, pronto. After silently washing the dishes with her mother, the daughter headed straight to bed. She had no energy left in her. I don't know who would. It's rude leaving your brother at the table, you know. Oh no! Is she gonna have to, like, sleep with her brother in the other bed near her? Oh god. Ugh, ugh, ugh. What's gonna happen when he starts to go bad? He's gonna sleep with me? Of course, why wouldn't he? You two have always shared the bedroom. Wow, yeah, someone get this mom some help. Girl, why is he so hard to move? His joints are all locked up. Rigor mortis, maybe? I swear he was much more relaxed this afternoon. Using all of her strength, the grumbling mother laid the son in his bed. She first tucked in the son, then the daughter, making sure to kiss each of their foreheads. Sweet dreams, you two. Good night, Mom. I would not like to be her. With the flick of the switch, the room fell into darkness. Even with the daughter's back turned, she knew those carved eyes were boring into her. How on earth could you sleep like at this point, I feel like the dad should step in. Because, I mean, honestly, he should have stepped in right off the bat. Because how is this not traumatizing your family even worse? Like, especially your daughter. But also, when your wife goes to grief counseling, I mean, she's going to look back on this and probably not feel too good, considering she's moving her son's dead body around everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think this is all bad news bears. All of it. All of it. Oh, boy. Have a good day at work. Remember what I've told you. Dear, that is final. Oh, good. Maybe he's like saying like, okay, we've got to cut this out. Wake up, it's time for school. Her brother was still laying in bed, so it wasn't a nightmare after all. Just an ever-living one, you know. Yeah, I wonder why he doesn't wake up. I guess gotta move him around a little bit. Maybe get the smell of French toast in the air. As per usual, the mother dyed the daughter's bow blue, her favorite color. Your brother needs to stay at home for a while so he can recover from his injuries. Listen, whatever you do, don't tell anyone what happened yesterday. It'll be our family's little secret. Do you understand? Okay. I'm glad you're so well behaved. Mommy and Daddy are trying their best despite our predicament. The girl shuffled off towards the school bus, completely bewildered at the mother's nonchalant attitude. After waving the daughter goodbye, the older woman returned to the house. Ay, caramba, this is awful. All of it is bad, bad, bad. Only the mother and son remained. Thankfully, his body had loosened up again, so it was easier to carry him out of bed and into the wheelchair. Don't get so full of yourself. You'll still have to study at home. Oh, don't give me that look either. You know puppy dog eyes are my weakness. Today was typically the day she spent cleaning the entire house. Despite her being a stay-at-home mother, it was a full job taking care of the estate, not to mention her family. She pulled out the vacuum cleaner. Several hours of busy work would be good to take her mind off of yesterday's events. Meanwhile, also having your dead son in the living room with a pumpkin on his head in a wheelchair. Are you thirsty? Would you like me to bring you a drink? You're not? Oh, that's fine. If you need anything, just call for me and I'll be there in a jiffy. It was a lovely day today, and her son could use some fresh air. She's not worried that the neighbors are gonna see this and be like, what the flip? The mother pushed him out to the veranda behind the house. It faced the family's pumpkin patch, so no nosy neighbors could see him. Oh, alright, well thanks for answering that for me. Humming, the mother entered a comfortable cleaning rhythm, letting all her worries slip away. The sky suddenly opened up. The mother was glad for the sudden rain. Their pumpkin patch desperately needed it. Wait! Her son was still outside! The mother dragged him inside and threw several towels on him. She pressed against him, drying him as fast as she could. What a fool she was. Taking him outside really was a bad idea. She promised herself she wouldn't slip up like that again. I mean, I'm not going to call her a fool because she's obviously in shock. But at the same time, this is not the only bad idea in this entire situation, if you know what I'm saying. Like, this is the smallest of the bad ideas right now, if you ask me. The smallest. Oh dear, your clothes are soaking wet. I can't have you catching a cold. I'm going to have to change them if that's all right with you. Dinner was again silent. Usually the daughter was the chattiest, bragging forever about what she had learned in school or in her books that day. Now, she was poking her stew. I'm like, no, I don't even like to poke my stew anymore because it reminds me of my brother's brains. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. The daughter refused to respond. Huffing in annoyance, the mother turned her attention to her husband. Your son and I had a great time together. He was very quiet, but did complete his required reading. I consider that great progress. I'm heading to the bar. Dear, but we haven't finished yet. I'll be back soon. Goodness, what's gotten into everyone? I have an idea. After dinner and its cleanup ended, the mother and daughter went their separate ways. Unfortunately, the kid can't go to the bar right now. I mean, the dad really shouldn't be going to, like, drown his woes. It's not good to drink when you're sad. But at the same time, like, I feel sorry for this kid. She's stuck with all of this now. How dare you, Dad? How dare you? The mother fell fast asleep, but in the daughter's bedroom, the girl was looking for any sign of life in her brother. Pale skin, dried blood around his neck, and a burgundy discoloration in the arms and hands. It just wasn't human. She reached out for his arm. Touching her brother was a familiar occurrence. Play fighting, sharing food. She interacted with him as any sibling would. Even if the two had spent hours in snow, she had never touched a person so cold before. The daughter shrunk back. She lacked the heart to continue calling him her brother. The figure tucked gently into the bed was an it. Without a word, she pulled the covers up over her body. Uh-oh. Why does it seem like it's counting down even though it's day 2 after day 1? It's school time! Please get dressed! When the daughter awoke, she found the body back to leering at her. The blanket must have slipped off during the night, uncovering the head once more. A fly landed on the pumpkin. I know, like, he must be rotting, right? At this point, like, not just the body, but the pumpkin too. The pumpkin's gonna go bad. Especially, like, depending on where they're located. I mean, if this was here in Texas, we don't carve our pumpkins until, like, the day before Halloween, because otherwise they'll start looking like an old grandma without her dentures. The mouth will be like, and the eyes will be all, so they'll just be like this. Not really that scary, you know. Well, maybe for some, but anyway. Ring, ring! No. Hello, who is this? Yes, I am the mother. Yes, ma'am. I assure you everything is fine with my son. He's been feeling a little under the weather lately. Thank you. Goodbye. The teacher on the phone sounded incredibly displeased. Timeliness and attendance had always been one of the family's virtues, so the mother was quite embarrassed. In addition, the mother felt guilty for not informing the teacher about her son's absence ahead of time, but her husband kept instructing her not to speak about her son's accident. Yeah, because of implication, I believe. The father did not return that night. To help alleviate the awkwardness, the mother attempted some small talk. So, how was your day today? Learn anything fun? Kind of. Was dinner to your liking? You need to eat your vegetables to grow big and strong. I guess. Your brother was telling me a funny story today about how you both accidentally broke a vase by playing tag. You were so horrified, you ran out of the house and climbed a tree to hide. He tried to save you by climbing the tree, but ended up getting stuck there too. You two must have been up there for an hour by the time your father and I came home from the grocery store. Whoa! Okay, wait a second. I'm gonna guess here. I wonder if that's something that the daughter never told the mom, and like the son is in a creepy way talking to the mom. Or maybe the son just told her back then and was just a total snitch. Snitches get stitches, and that is exactly why this guy has like a freaking jack-o'-lantern for a head and is dead. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Snitches get stitches. I swear, you kids are always up to mischief whenever your parents are out of the house. The mother chuckled and spoon-fed some more broccoli to the son. The house was starting to smell. It was musty, like meat starting to spoil. I mean, that's exactly what's going on here, let's be honest. The daughter knew exactly what was causing that odor, and it made her stomach churn. After dinner, we can put on the radio. The Lone Ranger might be on. You like cowboys, don't you? No, not really. I'm heading to bed. Fine then. Your brother and I will enjoy the program without you, Miss Grumpy Pants. Ooh. Okay, so I guess she did just make up that story. The mother's first task of the day after sending the daughter and her husband off was to attend to her son. She hadn't noticed it before, but certain areas of the child's skin were discolored. I wonder why. Probably just got some tattoos he didn't tell her about. It had the same green and blue hues of a bruise, but the eerie marbling patterns were nothing like she had seen before. At least it was faint. Were you playing with markers? No, she's dead, you dumb bitch. No, I'm sorry. Sorry. Pulling out a sponge, she washed the spot, but it refused to scrub off. She retrieved her makeup kit to cover up the blemishes. Tomorrow, she would look for a stronger cleaner for his skin. We're gonna need bleach, I think. Sweetheart, could you pass the salt to your brother? He looks like he needs some. The daughter hesitated. But he's... Okay. I appreciate you being so well behaved since your brother's injury. It makes Mommy's job just a little easier. Don't worry, he'll be back to running around with you in no time. Again, the father did not return for dinner. The daughter was beginning to think that he had run away for good. She didn't blame him, but why couldn't he take her with him? Yeah, okay, I will say that is really rotten on the dad's behalf. To just bolt on his family, at least his daughter. It also just kind of seems like, oh, I don't want to be implicated in this crime, so I'm just going to run away and leave it to the mom. But then what happens if the mom gets put in prison? The kid's going to end up having to go foster home to foster home. I don't know. Oh! As the women were cleaning up, the door flung open. It was Father! The girl's nose crinkled at the heavy liquor smell coming from him. Home. Headed to bed. No dinner needed. It took you long enough. I'm not happy. Our son needs you right now. I don't want to hear your nagging, woman. The daughter sprinted to her room before she became caught in the crossfire. She could already hear the screaming in the parents' bedroom. Knowing her mother, this could take hours. Like the several days before, the siblings found themselves staring at each other in bed. It was becoming tough to look at him. The foulness of his scent made her eyes burn, like moldy salami. Oh, and I love salami. Ugh. She failed to suppress a tremble as she noticed the white fuzz growing in the vegetable's eye. She felt nothing but sympathy for the corpse. He deserved a proper burial like his grandpa, not kept around in this desecrated state. Brother, are you in heaven? Are you at peace now? Oh, I feel so freaking bad for this kid, man. The entire family was kept to themselves in the living room. The father was reading a newspaper, the daughter playing with jacks, the son sitting silently in the corner, surprise, and the mother frantically running around, spraying as much bug spray as she could. Ugh, there are flies everywhere. I'm so sick of their buzzing. I'm worried all the noise is bothering our son. He needs as much sleep as possible to recover. Dear, Do you think something went bad in the pantry? If you help me move some boxes, I can clean it out today. No, it's your dead son, lady. Your dead son. Have you never watched the medical examiner show on what was it? Was it TLC? Was it Investigation Discovery? I don't remember, but it was like a medical examiner show. I mean, then again, I don't think they actually showed the dead bodies there. I don't know. Maybe she's just not really aware of that. I mean, it does seem like it's in the 50s. I'll stop. Anyway, done. Bye. Dear, are you listening? The father threw his newspaper on the floor. I'm tired of playing pretend. You're taking this too far. What do you mean? As in, I'm disposing of his body properly. I am digging his grave, and you will not stop me. Without hesitation, he left the room and returned with a shovel. He grabbed the wheelchair. The mother also latched onto it, pulling it to her side with all her might. Left and right, the bloated body was jostled between the parents, almost ready to topple over out of its seat. No, leave him alone! You can't keep him like this. Yes, I can! He's our son! Stop scaring him! For heaven's sake, he's green and smells like sewage. Does that sound normal to you? The wife should always listen to the husband. Don't be foolish. Once he's buried in the pumpkin patch, we shall never speak of this again. A couple inches to the right, and that china glass would have blinded him. Don't you dare take him away from me! Her outburst was completely uncharacteristic to the father and daughter, and it shocked them, or who or what had possessed the mother. Please, we can get you some help. You're being hysterical. The mother opened a nearby drawer and grabbed a large knife. She was a good cook and knew her cutlery well. Yeah, I'm sure she's gonna chop his dick. Just kidding. The woman looked terrified, shakingly holding that knife, but wholly prepared to strike in defense. I'll die before ever letting my children get in harm's way. You're a danger to us. I'll do it. I'm not afraid to do it. The father dropped the shovel, backing slowly away until he was trapped against a wall. Unfortunately for him, the mother closed the distance between the two. That's right! You were the one who ran over him in the first place! So don't you dare lay another finger on his head! Murderer! I've been following your every order, but look where that's gotten us! For the sake of our children, I think it's time you started listening to me! We're going to continue taking care of our son because he has had a nasty accident and needs our help. Don't you understand? The wife raised the knife at his face. I said, do you understand? Yes, I understand. Don't hurt me. Good. Now we're going to have ourselves a nice little dinner. Any objections? The room stayed silent. I mean, who the hell would be talking right now? Now's not the time to sell knock-knock jokes, yeah? Mother's demeanor became gentler, but she continued to grip that knife as if her life depended on it. I'm glad. Sweetheart, please follow your mommy and help her out. We're returning your brother to the bedroom. I think things are a little too loud for him around here. You two have been so inconsiderate. Yowzer! Shit. Oh my god, this has been picking up. Happy birthday! Unwrap it already. Wow, a bike? Thank you. Sure thing, sport. How about we break it in after the party? Yes, please. This is the best day ever. Can I ride it too? No way! You still need training wheels. Mom, he's being mean. Don't get too rowdy. You still have to unwrap the last of your presents. Who else wants another slice of cake? Me! Are you mad at Mommy and Daddy for hurting you? Oh, thank goodness. I feel so relieved. I always tell your daddy to be more careful when he's driving, but he never listens. The mother picked out another maggot and tossed it into a bin. It was starting to overflow, but at least she was making progress removing the squirming creatures. I know, that feels much better, doesn't it? She was a patient woman His healing process shouldn't take much longer. I don't know what kind of healing process you're waiting for, but it's not going to be, I think, what she's expecting. I was a little late today waking you up. Please get dressed as soon as possible. Bottle after bottle, the mother used her aerosol freshener to help air out the room. Thwack! With her other hand, she squashed a scuttling beetle. By now, she was certain that something went bad in the pantry for there to be such a large bug infestation. As much as she wasn't looking forward to it, she may have to clean out the entire pantry. She smacked a fly who was resting on top of her son's head. Oh my! I'm sorry for using the fly swatter on you. Did that hurt? While the mother was hard at work cleaning the house, the daughter nowadays avoided going inside as much as possible. Every day when she came home, her brother's body would be happily greeting her. She just couldn't handle the rotting sights and smells anymore. The smell of his exudation was overpowering. Green and brown juices dripped from his head and soaked his clothes. It wasn't rotting meat or spoiled milk anymore. It was death. No kids wanted to be near her either. In the corner of her eye, she could see them gag and hold their noses as if she was the deceased one herself. Yeah, she probably reeks of it, sleeping in that, you know? Sleeping with him in the other bed right next to her. Are you sure you don't want to stay with me a little longer? I can't. I have to get back home to my wife. But you've been looking so stressed recently. Is everything okay at home? The father let out a deep sigh. Not particularly. I think my marriage is falling apart. Oh dear. Oh dear indeed. I haven't been treated the best recently. My wife has been so demanding, screaming at me for the littlest things. She's strutting around like she wears the pants around the house now. I can't get any peace and quiet in my own home. I need to show her who's boss. She can't keep pushing me around like this. I'm a man, for God's sake. I wish you luck. You can always keep crawling back to me to lick your wounds. Oh, hell no. Also, not a fan of the dad. I get the time frame's probably like the 50s, early 60s. So it's like man of the house or whatever. But still, I'm like, I hate that mentality rather than the equal relationship, you know? Where have you been? It's rather late. Work. Our son was asking about you today because you failed to show up for supper. Again, you're worrying him sick. Every single day you talk about that damn son. I don't like how you do your job and make the money. I take care of the house and kids. Why is that so hard for you to understand? Yet you call me foolish? He was humiliated at how quickly she shut him down. At least she couldn't dictate his actions outside of the home. He berated himself for his cowardice. Jesus. This story. Also, he's not shaving anymore. Not that it matters, you know, his choice, but... Darling, I'm sorry that dinner was a little rushed. Taking care of your brother was consuming most of my day today. It was worse than rushed. More like she threw random ingredients, inedible or not, into a pot. This past week, it seemed that most of her meals were ending in this similar fate. The daughter poked a semi-charred apple with her fork. I mean, at this point, isn't it time to just, you know, call it a day and get her some help? Like, it's time. You know what? You gotta face the facts. Manslaughter happened. The longer you let this shit happen, the worse your sentence is gonna be. Had they called 911 right at the time it happened, even though he already passed, I'm sure they probably would have gotten a lesser sentence, you know, versus, oh, we're like, what, 14 something days in now? What was it? And the kid is literally with a pumpkin on his head. I mean, the mom totally plead insanity, but, you know, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Put it in the comments below. If you think, what you think would have been the best idea to take here. Should she have just hid the body, kept the body as it is right now, called the cops, or maybe something different? Maybe you have another idea that would incriminate them. Or maybe you shouldn't put that in the comments. I don't know, you put it in the comments, we'll see, whatever. You're gonna get true crime up in here. Ah! There was a maggot living in her food. Oh my, what have I told you about not washing your hands before you eat? You need to wash them more frequently. You were playing outside? Stop it already! How can you two continue pretending everything is normal? Dear, tell her that everything is normal. The father looked like he was in a trance, rhythmically chewing his food without a care in the world. Listen to your mother more. She knows best. It's not true! Why do you insist on talking back? You're a child. You don't understand anything. Treat your parents with some respect. The mother began to spoon-feed the body again. The spoon's contents also heartily containing maggots. A milk-white maggot slipped from the softening pumpkin head and landed onto the spoon, oblivious to the mother. Yummy, isn't it? Oh God, she was going rich. I'm going to my room. As you should. No supper for the rest of the night. I mean, it seems like supper's the punishment, honestly. The daughter was forced to cart the body back into their bedroom, making sure to avoid touching his slimy body as little as possible. His abdomen, distended beyond relief, was straining to rip through his clothes. The gorging insects were taking delight in how he was a balloon, ready to pop. Who knew what putrid horrors were trapped inside him? The girl fell to her knees weeping. Mother kept saying everything was fine, but of course it wasn't. What wouldn't she give to return to normalcy? Whatever did she do to deserve this torture? Oh. If only she and her brother hadn't been roughhousing when the car came. When she looked up, the body was now facing away from her, giving her some semblance of privacy during her grief. Or was he always facing that way? She couldn't remember. Thank you. Of course there would be no response, yet she still felt the urge to say something. I miss you, brother. I miss you so much. Jesus, man, this is a really good story. School, now. Oh my God, that pumpkin, look at it. Ay caramba. Another day, another garbage bag full of empty bug spray. The mother dabbed away any leakage from the son's body, alongside some flaky adiposaire. It was too much of a mess moving him in and out of the wheelchair anymore, not to mention ruining her upholstery, so she might as well clean him where he sat. You need to take care of yourself more. The last time I sponge bathed you was when you were a wee baby. Not to say you're not still mommy's little baby. She was frustrated with how many rags it took to maintain her son's cleanliness. He was slowly making his way through her favorite dish rags. The pelican-patterned one she was using was soaked with murky browns and greens. Her poor pumpkin seemed to be covered in a greasy black substance. It wasn't his job to clean the stovetop. The mother dabbed harder against his arm, accidentally scraping off a small section of skin. She groaned when more fluid oozed from the spot. Your sister has been refusing to help with laundry. Can you believe it? I wish she was as well behaved as you. No one else wants to spend time with dear old Mom. That's why you've always been Mommy's favorite. That's fucked up! Give me a second. I'll be right back. Hello? Yes, this is the mother. What? My daughter said that? About that, I think a raccoon died in the walls. We're going to have to get it looked at. Yeah, she's just overreacting. Children have such vivid imaginations. Her fist clenched. That girl! Because the school bus was long gone, the mother had to drive to school to pick her up. They drove back in silence with the daughter awkwardly fidgeting. Her mother looked like she was about to blow a gasket. Okay, explain yourself. Your teacher said that you were insistent on not returning home because there's a corpse in our house. Do you know how embarrassed I was? But it's true. There are insects crawling all over him and the house. I don't know how much more I can take. I feel so sick. The mother glanced at the body. What's that, darling? She's being quite rude. Yes, I agree with you. Mom, he's dead. He will never respond. When will you do something about it? It's awful living here. What a horrible thing to say about your brother. I thought I raised you better than that. Everything has gone downhill since he died. You don't do my hair bow anymore. The food is rotten. Daddy barely ever comes home and I can't stand all the smell. I know you're still grieving, but when will you ever get it through your thick head? The mother's eyes widened at the reddening of her hand and to her weeping daughter on the floor. The woman had spanked both of her children for misbehaving before, but she had never stricken their faces. You hit me! Sweetie, I didn't mean it. I don't know what came a hold of me. You know I'm so stressed from taking care of your brother. I don't know who you are anymore, but you're not my mom. I hate you. Darling. No! You can't hide this anymore! I'm telling the police about you and my brother! Oh, shit! She sprinted to the phone, but the mother grabbed her by the hair. Pain seared through the girl's body. You insolent child! After everything I've done for you? It hurts, Mother, it hurts! You're gonna rip my scalp off! A preteen girl had no physical power over a fully grown woman. The daughter was dragged across the wood floor, using all of her strength to attempt to release herself. When the mother reached the children's bedroom, she threw the girl inside, the door locked. Let me out! I'm begging you! Oh, Mommy is so tired! The poor, wretched girl banged and banged again on the door to no avail. The mother wasn't even listening to her. And I'm sure you're tired of the arguing as well. Daddy disagreed for a while, but he eventually learned that Mommy always knows best. All we have to do is wait a little bit longer until your brother heals up. You believe Mommy, don't you? I need to tell your father about this. He will not be pleased. No, I'm sorry. If you were truly sorry, you would have been a better sister. You can be that now. Yikes! That night, the daughter had a nightmare. Maggots covered every square inch of her body, twisting and writhing to find any way to burrow deeper inside. She would have screamed if her mouth wasn't equally stuffed with maggots. The white worm slithered across the remains of her tongue, bashing against the walls of her pumpkin head, trying to escape. She could feel their tiny mouths eating away at her bite by bite. Hello there, my sweet baby boy. I was just checking up on you. Did I disturb your sleep? No! She wasn't her brother! Leave her alone! You haven't fallen asleep yet? Are you having trouble? I can read you a bedtime story if you would like. Which do you want to hear? If I remember correctly, The Ugly Duckling was your favorite. She sat down next to the daughter, unaware of the slimy, squirming creatures crawling their way onto the hem of her dress. Buzzing blowflies danced above the two. And she began to read. The air was suffocating. Good night. May you have sweet dreams. She kissed the pumpkin head. Dark slime clung to her lips from her sweet goodnight smooch. The room fell into the darkness, leaving the daughter alone, coughing and gagging into the night. Oh boy. Yes, ma'am. My daughter is at home too. The kids' measles have gotten pretty bad, but they should be returning to school any day now. Did she kill her daughter? Yes, of course. I've been homeschooling them in the meantime. What do you think I've been doing this entire time? My babies will be back when they're ready, not a day sooner. You can stop calling now. The mother was exhausted from the incessant phone calls. Just yesterday, the electric company had threatened to shut down the power if the bills weren't paid, but she knew she had paid them. The skin son looked even worse today, concerningly worse. His skin was a soaked paper towel, tearing just as easily. The mother brought out more of her makeup kit, ready to powder all of the putrefaction. Though, unlike her previous attempts, her son's skin refused to obey. Well, yeah, it's just gonna get worse. Worse and worse. The body does not ever go back to healing form when it's dead. Like a silk glove, the skin slipped off, landing silently onto the ground. The ease of such a feat shocked her. Then more, and more, and more, until it was resembling some bloated lizard emerging from his molt. With each opening, a drip of black stew-like goo kept trickling down his limbs. No! No, no, no! Don't do this! She pressed her hands against him to hamper any further sloughing. In retaliation, a geyser of thick fluid spurt from his torso, accompanied by air too foul to describe. Ah! Finally, the stream of bodily deliquescence came to rest. The child in front of her was partially deflated, sagging further into a soaked seat. This wasn't good. Why wouldn't her husband take their child to the hospital? The mother was damn near ready to herself, but she knew the jostling from the trip would make things worse. Even the lightest touch of her hands was not safe anymore. Tears welled in her eyes. What more could she do? On the contrary, the son's face was twisted into some relieved grin. The tired woman looked down. Her dress's hem was dyed in an assortment of dark fluid. Touching her dress only further coated her hands in the mucus. After the mother spent the rest of the day cleaning the mess, she bathed and went to bed. Oh my God, it's almost a month with a dead body in the house. Anytime the daughter's door was unlocked, it was to slip in food. The timing was irregular, making it difficult to calculate when she should escape. I mean, there's nothing in there that she could use to, break the window, if not just open it. I mean, I do see the, crisscross thing going on there. But I feel like you could break it. But then again, the minute the mom hears that, she's rushing it. So I don't know. That is rough. That's difficult. She could hardly eat the food anyway. Not one meal passed without a wiggling maggot hiding inside. Being trapped in this festering room made her entire body itch. She brushed off a hungry fly crawling on her arm. Their usual food source had been relocated to the living room for several days now, but they were more than happy to bother her. The daughter remembered Job, a figure from the Bible. Despite all the suffering and adversity he was given, he never gave up hope and was rewarded in the end. She could make it through this too. One power the daughter had over her mother was retaining her wits. That's true. The police are here, but why? The mother glanced at the rooms behind her. Hide him and make sure the police don't hear the children. Good afternoon, officers. What business do you have here? Excuse me, ma'am. We were called here today because of a smell complaint. One of your neighbors isn't happy. Yes, sirs. Everything is all right. We've been having all sorts of pest problems, and I've been doing everything we can to clean them out. Insects in the pantry, raccoons in the walls. It's all a living nightmare. Phew, I sure can smell it. Do you have a stinky cheese factory hidden there? The three awkwardly chuckled. The caller also mentioned that your son hasn't been seen in a while. Yes, it's a case of the measles. I'm afraid he hasn't been improving as quickly as I'd hoped. I've been so weary. Everything seems to be piling up. Yet another reason to get your fucking vaccinations, yo. Because if he was already vaccinated, they would be able to tell, wait a second, he already got his measles shot. What's going on here? That doesn't add up. My husband keeps saying he doesn't have time to help. He's always working. The mother wiped her eyes. Oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am. We won't bother you anymore. Our best wishes for your son getting better. Thank you. You're too kind. I'll be sure to tell him. The daughter's mouth was gagged with an old sock. Behind her father was tying her arms with rope. The man had little idea how to do it and was trying to barbarically force the limbs into a position they couldn't go. Your mother cares about us. You know that, don't you? You can see how much she loves your brother. She'll come around and then we can go back to being a family. Why did her father keep listening to that monster? The daughter let out a muffled wail. Finally, the man turned to stare at her. Instead of a cold glare, he looked pained from heartbreak. He placed what might have been a loving hand on her shoulder, but he seemed too lost to tell. Yes, that's it. She was his child, remember? Surely he realized what he was doing to her. Any trace of empathy vanished when he heard the returning high heels of Mother. What took you so long? Come with me to the entrance. Her arms were bright red from struggling against the rope. No, don't leave her! On the opposite side of the room, the son's untied body was mocking her. A large section of hand ligament and muscle dribbled onto the wheelchair seat. Eventually, the police drove away. The parents did not return to unbind her. Was it because they forgot, or did they know she would attempt to escape again? Oh no. I really hope the daughter doesn't end up dying. Both the father and mother were staring at the black limb on the floor. It was soft and delicate, like wet tissue paper. Likewise, the child was rapidly falling apart, his mushy pumpkin head barely attaching to the neck. I thought after receiving his new head he would be recovering, but every day he gets worse and worse. What's wrong? What should we do now? That's it! What if we replace the body too? His body wasn't compatible with the head, so we should find a new body, that is. The neighbor's son, they're the same age. Oh shit! Now we're getting into not just like manslaughter, like vehicular manslaughter, but we're going into just straight up murder now. That's what we're doing? Just straight up murder? Okay, got it. Just so we know, we're all on the same page. We're now going into murder territory, like straight up murder territory of a child. Bring the child here tonight, and don't keep me waiting. Our son needs his body more than their brat does. Yow! Fuck! The daughter was awoken by the muffled sounds of struggling and whimpering. What was going on? A child's scream in the basement answered her question. Would she be next? The daughter did the only thing she could think of. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. Footsteps grew closer to her bedroom. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners. Your mother wants to see you. No! There was an uninvited person in the basement, and he was dead. He was fresh, and the pumpkin on his head was even fresher. Her parents really did kill someone. In the corner, her brother's body was callously cast aside. Look, darling, look! Your brother is all better now. Aren't you happy? We don't have to worry anymore. The mother stepped towards the daughter, completely drenched in blood. The daughter wanted to vomit, but the father held her still, unable to run away from her maniacal matriarch. Ah, I'm so glad you agree. Things will finally go back to normal. Don't forget, you have school tomorrow, so you can take your brother with you. Actually, that's probably a good thing, because if she takes the brother with her, that in and of itself is going to send the cops straight over there. She was prancing around the wheelchair, beyond proud of her newest work. The daughter knew that within a month the body would finish rotting and all the torment would begin anew. While the mother spoke, the new corpse was already turning pale. I was so busy preparing for today that I completely forgot about dinner. It may be in the middle of the night, but how about we have ourselves a celebratory meal, fit for a whole family? The police? And this soon? You absolutely good-for-nothing husband! I should have done it myself! The father simply bowed his head. You've always been so selfish, and thanks to you, you've now ruined it for all of us! Do not let them down here, or they'll take our son away from us! The parents were distracted. Now was her chance! As hard as she could, the daughter bit down on her father's hand, drawing deep blood. He jumped back as the girl burst from his arms and beelined up the stairs. You better rethink that right now! The mother had her butcher knife around the other child's neck. If you leave us, I'll kill him! You wouldn't want to be responsible for your brother's death again, would you? That would make Mommy very sad. I'm not afraid to do it! Don't take another step! For a split second, the daughter almost pitied her mother. Throughout this entire month, the mother kept denying and making excuses, completely delusional that nothing was wrong with her other child. Even now, she was treating this decapitated corpse like a hostage with value. Huh? What's that, darling? You want me to kill her instead? That does make sense. I've always loved you more anyway. The older woman faced her daughter, her knife already poised for attack. She wasn't kidding. Sweetheart, listen to your mother. Come down these stairs right now. You've already caused her enough trouble. The daughter was so close to escaping, but her legs refused to move. Gloria! Her heart was ready to burst out of her chest. She would know that voice anywhere. But, brother? In the corner of the room, a figure turned his pitiful head to face her. But how? He was supposed to be dead. I'm sorry everything turned out this way. It wasn't your fault. Gloria, you need to run, now! And with those last words, his body collapsed to the floor, bursting into a blackened sludge. Now he was truly gone. That closure was just what she needed. With no more time to spare, the daughter grit her teeth and sprinted up the rest of the stairs. Out of the house, she barreled into a policeman's arms. The mother's howling was already far in the distance. "Hey, be careful, that's a child!" "Are you hurt? What is your name?" It had been so long since the last time she touched a warm human being. Her resilience was finally rewarded. "Don't worry, young lady. We'll take care of this. You're safe now. You cover the seeds with dirt, sprinkle some water every so often, and they'll be ripe for picking in October." "Wow, that's so cool. What's the biggest pumpkin you've ever grown?" "Hard to say. Maybe the size of our car?" "No way, Daddy. You're such a liar." The father chuckled. "But I have won a blue ribbon at the state fair before. You should have seen the look on your mother's face. Having fun out there?" "Yeah, Daddy is showing us how to grow crops." "Dinner is on the table. You three better hurry or it'll get cold." "Last one is a rotten egg." "Wait up! You had a head start." "Daddy, why are you running too? Your legs are longer. It's not fair." Jesus. The mother put up a valiant struggle and stain with her deceased victims, but she was eventually dragged away, kicking and screaming. Ultimately, she was institutionalized. That seems, unfortunately, like the right pick for her, you know? Better to be there than in prison, since she's obviously, definitely going through some mental health problems. The father was charged with kidnapping and shortly afterwards committed suicide in prison. No one would mourn his death. With no family left to claim guardianship over the daughter, she was simply shipped to the nearest orphanage. For the longest time, this tragedy became the talk of the town. Who could have known that the quiet but kind-hearted family were host to monsters? It was rather lonesome in the orphanage. No matter how many times the daughter bathed herself, fellow children constantly remarked about her repugnant smell. She couldn't tell if it was because they were mocking, or if the girl could truly never wash away the scent of death from her house. "Oh, you poor child! I can't begin to imagine your pain. Don't worry, we'll find a good family to take care of you." At least the nuns were kind enough to ignore her smell. She was able to make friends with one of the older nuns, who was well known throughout the place for her baking skills. "I baked a nice pumpkin pie today. Would you like a piece?" "Ugh, I think that might be a little triggering." "Eat! Shoo, you silly fry! This pie is not for you." I don't know why I'm giving her this accent. "I'm sorry, they're such a nuisance. The flies have been unusually bold recently, and I don't know why. If you would like, I can cut another slice piece for you." "Toss it, please. I'm not hungry." "Are you sure?" "I'm begging you. I can't bear to look at it anymore." "As you wish, my dear." I don't know why I'm giving that accent. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, all right. So that was the end of it. Wow. I know it's less of a game and more of a narration, but I love these type of narrations so much that I can't resist. And this one seemed perfect for our curated Halloween time, But yeah, please check out other games of mine. I have a playlist of scary that's all year round. Also, hit the notification button just in case you might possibly miss out on videos and you don't want to do that because there's a lot of spookiness here and it's gonna get spookier, I promise. So it says for the afterword, thank you for stomaching through Pumpkin Eater. Countless hours of research were spent making this visual novel as scientifically accurate as possible. Death is an unavoidable process and may be sad, but everything must come to an end one day. And through decomposition, many more forms of life can spring forth. Flies and beetles have a good home for their young. Plants thrive on the nitrogen and carbon that our body releases. Though many shows delve into forensic science, the application of science to crime and law, very few showcase a less than fresh body. Even in the movie Psycho, a concept similar to ours where the antagonist believes his mother's corpse is still alive, was only shown as a mummified skeleton. Decomposition is an understandably gruesome subject that our team thought would be interesting to tackle. It was. Understanding how the human body rots is still a heavily studied field to this day. There are many factors that contribute to how fast a body decomposes, such as temperature, weather, scavengers, or even how much surface area of the body is exposed. It can take as quick as 2 weeks or as much as years. For our story, we had to assume average room temperature, low humidity, constant disturbance due to the mother, and some prolonged contact with moisture on the second day. Though the mother constantly sprayed bug spray to prevent the pesky insects from getting inside the house, there was still plenty of access for flies and microbes to feast upon the son's body. The story takes place over 25 days, but if the parents had continued to keep the body, it would have skeletonized within 50 days. Because of the various stages of decomposition, the son also went through many visual changes as the story progressed. Though relatively normal at first, he becomes discolored, bloats, and eventually falls apart in a mushy mess. If we had more time, as this was created for a 1-month jam, wow, that's amazing, we would have drawn more subtle visual variations to his body. Not only did we want to focus on the decomposing body, we also wanted to write about the family's straining relationship over the month. We were very inspired by Resident Evil 7's Baker family and the Amityville Horror's Lutz family. Both series involved an originally loving family that eventually became insane due to various events. We wanted to avoid supernatural elements though, as scientifically accuracy was our biggest priority. I appreciate that, I really do. Pumpkin Eater is definitely taboo and niche due to the nature of decomposition, and we do believe it would make a good exploitative film. Ruggero Diodato, if you are reading this, please give us a call because we have the story for you. I do agree, I really do. I think this would be an amazing story, like an amazing movie. Special thanks to Science Direct and Documenting Reality for supplying us with our references. Signed off, Dougzilla and Aviola. This was fucking great. I loved it. I loved it so much. Oh wow, and it even shows you like how the body decomposes throughout all of this. That is so freaking cool. I love all the love and time spent on this. This is so cool. I really, really enjoy it. And then the different sources. Glossary. Corpse wax. Wow. Oh man. Yeah, wow. I'm very, 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 very intrigued and I'm madly in love with this. I am absolutely madly in love with this. This is amazing. It's not just interesting anymore. It's top of the line amazing narration storyline is what I mean. Wow, wow, wow. Well, if you enjoyed this gameplay, please hit the like button down below. Leave a comment or two. I love seeing comments. I really, really, really want to know what your views on this game is. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.